Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name. In the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. They vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. A GST payroll all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's
Kevin J. Johnston here. Welcome to the Tax and Money Show, episode number 66. Today is June the 10th of 2025. Yes, we are live every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And today we are talking about fear. Yeah, fear, that emotion that we're not supposed to have anymore in the modern world where all of the saber-toothed tigers are dead. We will be talking about that. And then for the second half of the show, as we always do, I'll be answering any and all questions that come in. The questions can come in through TikTok, through Twitch. TikTok here, we got Kick over here, we've got Instagram here, we have everybody else here. We got Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. Just ask your question, and I will get to the questions in the second half of the show. So we got to talk about our modern world. Let's do that now. For those of you who are currently in Canada, it is true that every quarter, anywhere between 50 and 150,000 Canadians are just packing up and leaving the country. They're going to Mexico. They're going to Florida. They're going to some of the other states out there. Those who have ties to Europe are going back to European nations, and those who have a bit of a sense of adventure are going elsewhere, like Nicaragua or Panama. They're going all over the place, everybody. They're not staying in Canada, which means that the economy will eventually just absolutely tank, which it has. Let's face facts here. Manufacturing in Canada is dead. The education system is not teaching anybody how to be entrepreneurial or how to run a business or how to even be a manager, how to shake hands, how to write a resume. So when you've got the last 3 generations of kids have had zero education on how money works or how society works or how businesses work, they don't even know what a parking ticket is. They have no idea. It's also frightening to see how few kids under 30 have driver's licenses or the desire to even own a car in the future. Everyone's saying, let's use Uber. Okay, that works for me here in Panama City. Because in Panama City, Ubers are like $3, $267, $418. Makes perfect sense for me not to waste my time getting a car and driving through heavy traffic here in town. But in Toronto, Ubers are what, 35, 40? You take 4 of those a day, every day, 7 days a year. How quickly does that add up to the cost of a Porsche? So you have to really think through the economics here. And unfortunately, young people just don't get that kind of education. So they're not thinking about the possibility of owning a car. Now, thinking back to, I know it's a different era, so this is not an outright criticism of everybody who's under 30. It was a different time. But I wanted to drive when I was 14. My father was a stickler for the rules. No, you can't learn until you're 16. Because somehow that number mattered. It was a very unusual thing that just because some other human being says it's a rule, then he forced me to live by that rule. I mean, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18 because they were rule followers, and I'm not. I have zero interest in rules. But getting back to it, age 14, my uncle Jimmy, God rest his soul, he was teaching me how to drive when I was 14. I actually bought my first car when I was 15, and I drove for 7 months before I even took my driving test when I was 16 to get my full driver's license. That is how eager I was to begin my life away from buses, away from bicycles. I mean, for those who live in the Greater Toronto area back in the 70s and 80s, everything was somewhere else, way away. So if you were going to walk to work or take a bike to work, you had to plan it. You know, it was like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours to do so. You needed a car. I wanted a car. Young people don't want cars anymore. They say, well, why do we need cars when public transit is so great? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Oh, what cities are they talking about? Panama City's got great public transit, but no matter how good a city's public transit may be, not everybody lives on the transit line. Not every store is on the transit line. Not every hospital is on the transit line. You're still going to have to walk 1, 5, 7 kilometers to get where you got to go after you do the train ride. So you should always aspire, young people, to be better. But I do understand. I get this. I understand the fact that brand new cars are $70,000 for paper crap. I get it. I wouldn't pay $70,000 for the vast majority of cars that were out there. And I remember when my mother died, in her will, she left me some cash and she said, son, I'm tired of you always owning used cars. Buy a new car. So I went shopping for a new car. It was the Nissan. Was it Nissan? No, Toyota. What's up? The Camry, is it? The Camry. I think it's the Camry. Yeah, the Toyota Camry. That's correct. It was. So I took the 4-cylinder for a ride. And it was okay. And they wanted $27,000 for it. And the reason it was so cheap is because they brought this really disgusting stone gray color in. I didn't want it. I wanted the 6-cylinder. So I look up the 6-cylinder, and on the website, you go clicky, clicky, clicky with your mouse and pick your colors and pick your options. And somehow this base model 4-cylinder for $27,000 ended up being $68,000 with the color I wanted and the engine size I wanted. Like, nope, absolutely not. So I went looking for used cars again. And I had it narrowed down to, is it an 85 Camaro? And sorry, no, I had it down to a 94 Camaro and a 94 Trans Am and an 85 El Camino. And I figured, okay, you know what? I got a family of 4. The El Camino's got 3 seats. I'm going to do the right thing and get my hands on the 4-seat Trans Am and the Camaro. Bought them both. Later on, when I reminded everybody out there that, the pandemic thing, you're right. Remember when I told you that? And the cops kept pointing guns at me for it, and they stole one of my they took my Trans Am. They literally just took my Trans Am and left me in the middle of nowhere in the freezing cold with only a sweater. This is what they do in Canada if they don't like what you say. Regardless, I'm just saying that I was able to buy those 2 cars for less than $16,000 because I'm okay driving a 30, 40-year-old car. I've got no problem with that at all. I actually prefer the old stuff if you want the truth. So young folks have not been taught economics. It makes sense to go and get yourself a vehicle that was not beat up, that was taken care of by the appropriate person. Get a car, get your driver's license, go out there and explore your local area and explore even further because it helps your mind grow to the possibilities that are out there. I never really became entrepreneurial at all until after I got a driver's license and started driving around and seeing things like hotels that could be better, restaurants that could be better, billboards that could have been designed better. I was seeing all these things because I was driving around. So unfortunately, the young they're trapped. They got this camera, they got their cameras, they got cameras everywhere, and they just stay home and look at stuff. And as a result of that, they are afraid of their own shadows because they have no real world experience. This nonsense, for example, in the schools about we have 0 tolerance for bullying. And then 2 kids get into an argument. And I guess the bigger one gets expelled for life because they have a 0 tolerance policy. Trust me, kids, getting expelled from a Canadian school is good for you. So I suggest all of you get into fights and get kicked out now. That means that there was never an opportunity for those kids to understand what it's like to be bullied so that they can then form a defense to it, an emotional defense to it. You want to be emotionally controlled when you're getting picked on, but also, hey, a little bit of vengeance. It's a good thing. You'll learn that if you've got a couple of bullies and you're looking to get even, there's all kinds of ways to do so. That is actually good for you. The papers are very clear on this. Kids don't get that exposure anymore. But I don't want to talk about kids today. I don't, because people under 30 are not my clients. In fact, I have no clients under 30 at all, period. Why? There's no economy for them. They don't have jobs because there's nowhere to work. They are not entrepreneurial because that's been beaten out of them. And even if they were entrepreneurial, there's no economy to build a business within in Canada anyway. So I totally get why nothing's going on for that generation. No, I want to talk about my generation. I'm born in 1971. I was 6 years old. I remember seeing Star Wars for the first time. In fact, opening day. And I remember it was at the 5 Drive-In. For those who know the province of Ontario, the 5 Drive-In is in Oakville, Ontario. They had those little silver speakers that you would clip on the inside of your car. And my mother would always put my brother and I into pajamas before the movie would start because we'd pass out in the back seat and they'd just take us home and throw us in bed. Good plan. But I was in my pajamas and Star Wars starts and I was for the full thing. I remember being excited all the way through the full thing. So that I'm talking to my generation who saw Star Wars come out the first time. Remember when the crawl said Star Wars? It didn't say A New Hope Part 4. Remember that? I saw that one. All right. So I'm just aging myself here for those who wonder how old I am. And I'll tell you, I'm 53. I'll be 54 this year. Okay. In ancient times, we had the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths and the Persians, and we had the Mongols and the Romans and the Carthaginians, and we had all kinds of crazy stuff back in the day. We had massive civilizations out there that would clash and just kill each other, destroy each other. And then when they were in a weakened state, the barbarians would move in and defeat both sides and take whatever they wanted. And then when all that was done, the lions and the tigers and the saber-toothed cats, they'd come in and eat all the corpses. And so would the vultures and all the other dangerous animals out there. Well, that stuff doesn't exist anymore, right? The hordes aren't there. I mean, the hordes are being imported into our countries, but you get what I'm saying here. We don't have Mongols showing up on horseback, putting arrows into everybody's heads from 400 yards out. And we really do not have saber-toothed cats hunting us anymore. And even if you live in Missouri and Mississippi and Florida, yeah, there's alligators there. But it's not like alligators are walking right down the middle of your street and using their tail to ring your doorbell and then grabbing you when you open the door. That's just not how it is. So I've got to ask the question now. With all these things, and if you're my age, you also remember they tried to tell us back in 1977 that we were slated for an ice age by 1998. Remember that? Time magazine. We're all going to freeze. And then acid rain. And then there's a hole in the ozone layer, dear Laza. Who remembers that nonsense? And then there won't be an ozone layer. And then a global warming. And then. Oh, and on top of all that, we had the Cold War, where the Soviets and the Americans were, comparing wang sizes, saying, look how many missiles we got and so on. So we had the threat of acid rain, which wasn't a thing, and the threat of global warming, which wasn't a thing, and the threat of nuclear strike, which was never going to happen. And anybody with a brain knew that. So now that we've seen all these hoaxes, we should know what a hoax looks like by the time we are this age, do we not think? So my question really now is, what in the hell are men my age afraid of? Where does all of this fear come from? So what am I talking about tonight? There are a lot of men that contact me. And listen, I'm sympathetic to people being broke in Canada. I was broke in Canada. I'm a millionaire now, but I had to leave my home country to be that. And anybody else out there with my level of intelligence and some drive can do it. You can get rich outside of Canada, even the United States. You still get rich there. Things are easy there. So I am sympathetic, but I'm not sympathetic to all of the fear that I'm having to listen to on a regular basis. Let's talk about the Canada Revenue Agency for a second here, because I'm coming full circle, everyone. This is all going to make sense shortly. The Canada Revenue Agency is a collection agency. Collections. That's correct. It's all collections. The Canada Revenue Agency does not have any laws to back up anything that they do. I've covered this hundreds of times. They have the Income Tax Act, the Excise Tax Act, and the GST Act to rely on, but those acts are not laws that pertain to me or to any of you watching the show tonight. If, of course, you don't work for the CRA, because an act pertains to those only who choose to be governed by them. Work for the CRA, you're governed by those acts. We don't work for the CRA, those acts mean nothing. And I mean positively nothing. So, you know that. I've been giving all this information away for free for like 7 years straight, aside from a couple of months where the Canadian government told me I couldn't be on the internet. Remember that? Yeah, but I'm still here. I'm still doing this. So when the CRA, now that you know that they are just a collection agency, now you know there's no laws to back them up. A couple of weeks ago, I did a full 2-hour show on tax court, Canadian tax court, where I showed you the information directly from the tax court website, where they admit they have zero jurisdiction over equity. That means tax court in Canada, it's only an appeals tribunal, and they cannot render decisions in any way to take your stuff. All right, so I'm teaching you this. I know that accountants are cowards. They don't know this stuff because they don't want to know this stuff. I do want to know this stuff. So I study this stuff. But let's imagine now you've got someone and they call themselves, let's say, Farouk Mohammed Salim, and they don't speak English, and they call you up, you owe money. Why is the first reaction fear? That's what I'm wondering about. Why is it fear? Why is the first reaction from, especially, I'm talking to the men right now. Why is your first reaction not anger? That is the correct response, by the way. I'll tell you what I mean by that. You pay for your phone. No one else pays for the phone. You should have the right to select who can call you and who cannot. But the CRA makes a phone call to you. Now they're wasting your time. And if you don't have an unlimited cell phone package, they're burning up your minutes. And they're calling you on something you're paying for, taking you away from your life to demand money from you that you don't owe them and they don't deserve. Your reaction should be anger, because anger is useful. Fear is not in any way useful, but they want you afraid. So it's a serious question. And I'm going to ask everybody now who's watching the show, I want you to put it here in the chat. Rumble is over there. On Instagram, it's right around here. On Kick, it's at the bottom. Talk to me, people. Tell me why, when some loser from the CRA makes a phone call to you, that your first reaction is to cry and be afraid. What exactly is it you think these people can do? So start talking. All right. I do all the talking on this show. Now it's time for you to tell me why fear is the reaction. So, men, it is our job as men to protect our families from absolutely everything. Everything. As a man, it is my job to protect what I own, but that's less important than my family. It is my job to take bullets for them and to deliver bullets for them or from on their behalf. If someone's attacking them, it is my duty to kill the attacker. And if I have to go to prison for that, that is also my duty as a man. I do not have the luxury as a man to feel fear when anybody is threatening me at any time, period. Well, yes, if you don't have knowledge, you'll be a little afraid, I suppose, but that's still not an excuse to go straight to fear as opposed to going to anger and then learning how it is to fight these individuals off. So as men, you've got a house, you got a car, you got money, you're married, you got kids, you got dog, fish, cat, bird, you got something. It's all worth protecting, don't you think? So what happens here with the vast majority of men now, I'm talking to the men, when the CRA calls them, the reaction is fear. And they just go like straight to, I don't want to go to jail. That's the first thought everybody has. Now, how many times do I have to tell everyone here, you cannot do prison time for owing tax money in Canada. You do not do prison time for telling the CRA to get lost or calling them racist names if you want. Remember I told you what I did to those CRA auditors that came to my friend's place? We shone lasers in their face until they got up and left. And we had their car towed from Vaughan to Newmarket. We had it towed and left it beside the train tracks on Davis Drive up in Newmarket. You can do all this stuff, right? It's called boldness, people. And when we're dealing with government agents, you need to be bold. You need to take complete and total control of the populace. Sorry, the situation, I'm sorry, being brought at you by the populace, by these individuals. Turn everything around. I'm going to give you an example. See, I'm here to help everybody tonight. I'm going to say something very crass and very rude right now. I tend to not be rude on this show, but I have to be to make a point. The point I want to make is, and look, there's no point asking the same question over and over, guys. I don't know if the CRA sued Mark Carney because I didn't look at the news today. I was too busy working on my client's stuff. That question just came up 20 times. Knock it off. Quite frankly, I don't even care if they did because they're going to lose. So what'll happen here is I'll just wait for the report to show up and then I'll read it to you. How's that sound? Now stop asking because I'll boot you. A CRA agent called me once because I don't just do taxes for people. I act as your legal agent. What that means is I'm kind of like your lawyer, but I'm not a licensed lawyer. So I can't call myself a lawyer. I have to say legal agent. And a CRA representative called me up and she says, well, your client is filing for a child tax benefit for 3 children. Yeah, that's correct. She is. I did the taxes and I swore the affidavits. What's the question? Oh, well, we need proof that she has those kids. Okay, so no, you don't need that because under section 231.1 of the Income Tax Act, you can't even ask that question. And then she goes, well, I need their birth certificates. I need their names, their ages. I need all of that. I said, well, why would you want that? So that you and the Children's Aid Society can kidnap them and I'm not going to say the R word here, and sell them to a foreign country so they can be used as sex objects? Is that why? You want to kidnap those kids, aren't you? You're a pedophile, aren't you? That's how I was shouting at this woman. And she's almost crying on the phone. No, that's not what I meant. Well, you people are all the same. You're criminals. I'm not going to divulge any information about children to you. Why would you even ask me about children, you disgusting pervert? I just let her have it. And I kept going until she eventually hung up the phone on me. That is how you treat people that work for the government of Canada. How dare someone ask, what's your children's name? Hi, I'm nobody from a collection agency. Tell me your children's names and give me their birth certificates. Now, you know what really gets on my nerves is the amount of fear that you people have out there where you think, oh my God, I better do this. I don't want to go to jail. Now, let me ask you this. As a parent, do you not think doing prison time to protect the sanctity of your home is worth it? I think it is. I absolutely think it is. In every way, shape, or form, I believe wholeheartedly it's worth doing prison time to keep my family's information safe from all the predators out there. And the CRA, they are predators. They're financial predators. Why would you be so afraid that you're willing to turn over the safety and the privacy of your babies to the CRA? That makes me sick. Not sick, pukey sick. It makes me angry sick. You need, all of you now, you man up and you got a woman up. You are not obligated by any law in Canada to divulge your name, your address, your phone number, your children's names, your identification. You are not obligated to show that to anyone. Now, why don't all of you just go on the attack every time someone starts sniffing around you and your family? Period. You got to do it. Yeah. One of the signs that I used to have on my house in Calgary, I had an airbrush artist do it. It was a nice welcome mat. Put it right in the front door. It literally said F off, F-U-C-K, off. That's what it said. And another sign saying, if you ring this doorbell, I'll throw boiling hot coffee in your face. And no one ever rang that bell. It was great. Why? Because it's my time. That's a house I pay for. I don't want any of you ringing my doorbell trying to sell me something. If I don't know you, I don't want to talk to you in my private time, and I don't want to talk to you in my private time on my private property. Now, please, maybe someone here could tell me what's wrong with me having a rude sign and a rude doormat to keep, ready for this, rude people away from me and my property. If someone's ringing my doorbell trying to sell me something, that is rude. It's incredibly rude to waste someone's private time. Get a better job. Don't ring people's doorbells trying to sell them stuff. It's a horrible way to make a living. And it's a horrible act to commit. So everybody watching tonight, why don't all of you make a phone call? Pick a random, go to my website, or my Rumble channel, sorry. Just type in freedomreport.ca. You'll get to my Rumble channel. I got a bunch of videos with auditors' names and phone numbers on them. Call these people and start asking questions. Ask all kinds of questions. Who are you? What laws do you have that says you can pester people? Why don't you get a real job? Why don't you stop bothering people? Why don't you stop threatening people? Ask questions. So I want all of you, everybody watching here on TikTok and everybody watching over here on Instagram and on Kick, get a pen. Everybody else on the other channels here, you're going to be able to see this. Remember I told you about this individual here, this crazy cretin? Her name is Veronica Marcus, spelled Markus. She calls herself a trust accounts examination officer. Loser, that's her real title. She works in the Ottawa office at 333 Laurier Avenue West in Ottawa, Ontario. And her phone number, write this down, is 613-791-6387. That is a public phone number, so I'm allowed to give it to you. That's a government employee, so I'm allowed to give it to you. Now, for those who can't see, you can watch the replay on freedomreport.ca. We've got this not so attractive chick wearing a ton of makeup. This is an auditor for the CRA. I told this auditor, do not go to my client's house. You are not welcome there. We are not interested in talking to you. And she went anyway and rang the doorbell and stood on the front porch for almost 5 minutes like a moron. The screen capture is from the footage. You can see that she looked up at the camera. Look at the guilty look on her face. What a loser. So I phoned her up and I told her that I'm reminding you, you criminal, that you were not allowed to go to the house and you went. And as a result of what had happened there, my client decided to sell his corporation to me that day. And I told her, I bought the corporation. It's mine now. Now you got no choice but to deal with me. So I hit her with a ton of questions, an absolute ton. And because I know my rights and I know the law, she gave up. And then I would call her back saying, hey, I'm the owner of the company now. I want to talk to you about my corporation. Why don't you come on down to Panama and run the audit here? I've got all the books for you. No, you're too aggressive. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not talking to you. So I would leave her a bunch of voicemails and I'll call her once in a while and get her off guard. But I want everybody watching tonight's show to call this individual and practice being a son of a bitch. Don't threaten her with violence. Don't threaten her life. Ask questions. That's what you do. Put her on the hot seat. Make sure that she understands that she is not welcome in decent company. This is not someone to fear. This is someone to hate, is what this is. I loathe the CRA. All of you do too, although nowhere near as much as I do. So I want every single one of you to call this auditor and ask her, why does she continue to break the law? Why does she continue to pester people and steal money from single mothers and senior citizens who have nothing? Why does this woman think that she has a single right to even enter someone's property? Ask questions. Be cold and be cruel. Train yourselves to be the predator and not the victim. The biggest issue that we all have, the reason CRA gets away with all this garbage that they do to Canadians is because you're afraid to be the predator. You're allowing this makeup wearing shill. Look at her face again. What a disgusting, vile looking creature. This thing shows up at your house. You can't be afraid of this. This needs to be afraid of you. Now, let's just say that you did answer the door and they say, well, I'm an auditor here. Try this. Get off my land. There you go. Gotcha. Try something like that. Just yell and then call 911. I've got somebody here with a bag full of guns. I don't know what's in that box. Look at that big box behind her. Could be guns in there. Could be knives. Could be chemical weapons. I don't know. I'm allowed to tell the police, I'm afraid. I can say that. I identify as somebody who's afraid. And take her license plate down. You know why? Because the CRA, all of them, they drive their own cars. They don't get company cars. They drive their own cars. So, I can't tell you to do this. All right. I really can't. But somehow, if a brick went through someone's windshield while they were talking to you, I don't know, it would be their own car and they'd have to fix it themselves. The CRA does not pay for vehicle damage to the auditor's vehicles. Period. Isn't that amazing or what? So start with this individual. And I'm going to start divulging all the phone numbers of all of the auditors that have ever once been lippy with me. If they've been lippy or rude, or they want to say something like, oh, well, we can do what we want. We're the CRA. Oh, yeah? Well, I can do what I want because I'm outside of your jurisdiction. There is nothing that the Canadian government can do to me so long as I'm not inside of the borders of communist Canada. The Canadian government's already done as much as it possibly can. It took my house. It took my money. They took my car. They incarcerated me for 7 months because I wouldn't stop talking and I wouldn't stop smiling and I wouldn't stop teaching Canadians. And hey, in an act of sheer defiance, right now, these are my prison slippers. I still wear them every single show. These are my prison slippers from the Calgary Remand Center. I paid a native guy $20 to smuggle them out for me. Now they stuffed them down his pants. They searched me. They didn't search him. All right. So I got my slippers. And just for the record, everyone, these jail slippers that I earned them. These slippers have been in 12 countries with me. All right. You're damn right. You got to be proud of this stuff. You can't fear these idiots. They'll try. And if they do put you in prison, they can only keep you in there for a very short period of time, especially if it's white collar stuff. My God, come on. If a gorgeous, cute guy like me can survive 7 months of prison, any of you can. God. And the worst part is they dropped all the charges after that was all said and done. They dropped everything. Yeah, they just didn't want me talking about the pandemic that never happened. They didn't want me teaching people things. They still don't want me teaching people things. I remember the Peel Regional Police, that's the police force in my hometown of Mississauga. They're such a bunch of losers. The whole force seems to be between the ages 21 and 36, and they're all left-wing lunatic losers. Oh my God, these people are so stupid. Well, these individuals kept ringing my doorbell for almost 3 straight years. Hey, you can't say mean things about the mayor on Twitter. You got to stop doing that. Yeah. And when I eventually left the province of Ontario and moved to Calgary, the Calgary police did the same thing. Hey, man, those tweets you're saying aren't so nice. Could you kind of stop doing that? Do you know why they were doing that? Because the politics in Canada, the politicians, the judges, everybody that stood to gain some money were losing money. They were afraid of me, just one 5'6", middle-aged guy with gray hair. I mean, great looks, but I'm just some middle-aged guy. That's all I am. And with me talking, which they didn't want me doing, I was costing the government a lot of money. And that they're lashing out with the police and the use of Antifa and the BLM idiots to assault me and throw stuff at me. That was fear. It was all fear response. What they did in their fear response in Canada is they made me pretty damn famous. They gave me $50 million, of free advertising by putting my face all over the country. Look at this guy. He won't wear a mask. You're right. I won't. I'm telling everyone else not to. So look at him. He's bad. He's very bad. So there we go, everyone. So let's get back to it. I want everyone to practice with this auditor. And that's her name is Veronica Marcus, Markus. Her phone number, 613-791-6387. Now, that phone number is a public phone number for a government office, which is why I'm allowed to give it to you. And I need everybody who's watching this show to phone her and ask her a ton of questions. Ask her why she's a criminal. Ask her why she steals. Ask her why she breaks section 423 of the criminal code, which is intimidation. Ask her all these things. And my offer is still on the table. If you get her on the phone and you actually get her answering questions and you engage her in conversation, the funniest conversation, send me the MP3 file. The funniest one gets $100 of my money. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? The 3 funniest conversations. All of you will get $100 of my own money. There you go. This is an exercise in ramping up your capacity to be the predator. We can always make sure, everyone, that when we are on the attack, we always got to make sure that we are the ones on the attack. We can never be reactive to anything. We've got to be proactive and be the predator. You're going to find that when you do this with these government employees who criminally harass people and steal for a living, you're going to feel pretty damn good about it. It feels very good to put a criminal on the hot seat, which is why politicians in Canada don't answer questions anymore. You guys remember when I ran against Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie in 2014? Remember she had that book? It's a binder and everything's color-coded. So all the answers to any question that would ever come up, it's all in a color-coded book. And with her, someone would ask a question and, we'd flip the page, or she'd flip the page to blue, and she'd look, blah, 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 blah. And that's how we're going to make money. And Canadians are morons, so they would just clap and cheer for that nonsense. So I would look over her shoulder in the debates, and I'd say, oh my God, whoever wrote this book should be running for mayor, not Bonnie. Every single answer to every single question is in a book. Why do you people take this person seriously? Big Bonnie, close the book. Notice how I don't have one. Close the book and try to answer a question. And then I actually invited the entire audience. By the way, everyone watching this, play it backwards. Listen to her answer, then listen to the question. And you'll see that she's never answered a question in her entire life. We are too afraid to call people out on that. Why are we afraid to call people out on their BS? If someone's full of crap, call them out on it. Here, I'm going to give you a basic lesson, everybody. A basic lesson on this whole fear thing. As all of you know, yes, I'm a big believer in good manners. Manners do maketh man. But sometimes you've got to step outside of it. Don't be crass and vulgar because that makes you look bad. But once in a while, you got to call somebody out. Now, I had this aunt. She wasn't really an aunt. She was a friend of the family. Not sure why my parents liked this individual. She was annoying and would always just talk aimlessly about nothing at the dinner table. No one liked her. Nobody ever wanted her there, but she was at every single Easter and Christmas dinner. Couldn't figure it out. I didn't want her at my birthday parties. She was there. Yep, 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 yep. So I told my mother, I was married at the time. I told my mother and my wife at the time saying, when Auntie Sharon flips off at the gums this coming Saturday, and she will, I'm going to call her out. I'm just letting you know in advance. So you may not want to be there. No, don't do that. If you love me, you won't do that. If you love me. Yeah, all right. Okay, mommy, I won't do that. Now, we go, and Auntie Sharon immediately starts on more stupid nonsense that had nothing to do with the conversation and nothing to do with life. So I finally said, all right, Auntie Sharon, did you ever notice that when you talk, everyone's going like this? No one's actually listening to you. Everybody here is praying for a train to crash through the wall so you'll just stop talking. Yeah. Did you ever consider once that you don't have anything intelligent to say? Where are you getting this information from? Now, both my mother and my wife at the time, they're kicking me under the table. Stop it. And I just said, Mom, wife, stop kicking me under the table. I'd say, look, Auntie Sharon, both these ladies here told me not to engage with you because they're afraid to offend you for some reason. And they're kicking me under the table to get me to stop talking to you and calling you out on your childishness, but I'm not going to do it. And she eventually broke down in tears, thank God. And I'm immune to that, by the way. When women cry, I'm completely immune to it. Doesn't affect me. And she walked out the door. And all the men at the table, like yeah. And all the women at the table, you're awful. So the men and the women went to separate rooms right after dinner. But Auntie Sharon never came to, and she wasn't my aunt, remind you. She never came to another family event, ever. I never had to endure her again. I didn't even have to threaten her. I just called her out. But I think that many of you out there who know someone just like this, that you don't call people out. You just let them talk. When someone that you hate comes to your house or comes to your party or shows up, like your wife's got some guy friend that you can't stand, or your husband's got some loser alcoholic, you just keep showing up, call them out. Like right there on the spot, tell them you don't like them, and here's why. And here's 5 reasons why I'd like you to get the hell out of my house right now. You all need to practice being jerks. There's nothing wrong with it when you are preserving your own mental health. Listening to people like that is bad for your mental health. Listening to anything that the CRA has to say is bad for your mental health. Fearing the CRA is bad for your mental health. Now, who remembers the proverb I wrote? When you make a decision based on fear, it is 100% wrong 100% of the time. Kevin J. Johnston, I wrote that. Why did I write that? Because I've seen far too many people make decisions on the spur of the moment out of fear, completely reactive, and it's always wrong. It's always wrong. So why don't all of you maybe look at a bit of history here? Louis XIV, I think he was a complete ass. I hate the guy really from a historical standpoint, but he was very clever in that he would listen to all of his courtiers speak to him, and he would listen to all the politicians throw ideas at him. And he always said the same thing. I shall see. He always said that. And then he would make his own decision later after he had thought about all of the consequences of all of the suggestions and decisions he was about to make. So why can't all of you just say, hey, listen up. You caught me at a bad time, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'll pull some files out for you. Why don't you give me a call in 21 days and we'll go over my file? That's it. Like, that's not even rude. That's just you're telling people your time is valuable. You've caught me at a bad time. The answer is no. And you'd be amazed if it's a CRA, they have to write down the notes, caught him at a bad time. He wasn't home. I will call in 21 days. They actually put that in their notes and they move on to the next phone call. And as soon as they realize that you're not emotionally reactive, then they're not going to bump your sucker index up higher, and they're not going to call you as often. And when they do call you, it's going to be for that one specific thing because you controlled the conversation right from the moment that you took the call. It's very important that you always maintain composure and take a couple of days to think about it. You don't have to buy a car right now because the sales guy says someone else was looking at it. Call him out too. Oh yeah? Who was looking at it? Was he white? Was he black? Was he yellow man? Was he half? Was he 1/4? What was he wearing? What did he offer you for the car? What did you guys talk about in the car? Just call people out on everything. And if you get really good doing it with car salesmen, then you can get really good with it on the phone with the CRA. So to repeat what I was saying earlier in the show, the men out there, we're men. We do not have the luxury nor the time in this incredibly short lifespan that we're granted to feel fear over nothing. You can never let your fear inhibit any of your decision-making processes that are to the benefit of you and your family. I am hypercritical of men who have families who feel any fear whatsoever. The only fear that a man should ever feel is the fear of his own negligence costing him the lives of his own family. That's what a man should fear, his own negligence. What does that mean? Don't be negligent. It means be on the ball. It means forget about the hockey game and forget about TV and forget about the stupid nonsense out there and doom scrolling at night. Forget about that stuff. As men, do things that matter. First off, spend time with your kids. Spend time with your wife. Do that. That's a good thing. Take the family out. Never mind this date night crap with your wife. Take the whole family and go have a good time. As men, we got to go to the gym. Being strong is pretty damn good. You know, I'm working on it. I'm working quite hard on this right now. And there are 5 different machines in the gym right now that I have maxed out. All of them. I have a goal actually to max out every single machine in that gym. Leg, chest, back, biceps, triceps, all of them. It's a good goal to have. As a man, it's my job to be strong. As a man, it's my job to be educated. As a man, it is my job to know how to use a knife to defend my family and to know how to shoot. I'm a member of a gun club down here. I go through a lot of bullets every single month. I want to make sure that I can kill someone who wants to harm me or my family from at least 75 feet away. That's my duty as a man. I would like every man out there watching this show right now to begin thinking along those lines. I'm not saying I'm better than you. That's not what this is. I'm talking about duty. The only difference between me and you is that I've caught on to this a little bit earlier, but that doesn't make me a better human being than you. It just makes me the guy that got there first. And there's men that got there well before me. So I'm not first. I'm just saying, guys, try your very best to keep improving yourselves so you are not afraid of phone calls. Now let's talk about the kinds of people that are actually calling you from the CRA. The Canada Revenue Agency figured they would be able to collect more money by hiring DEI morons, like really stupid people from countries you've never heard of. They don't speak English. They don't know our culture. In many cases, they don't like us in any way. In a lot of cases, especially around the world, there's a lot of countries that have advertisements running, paid for by your tax dollars, I might add, saying, come to Canada, have a job, have a big house, have success. It's a complete lie. None of it's true, but they don't know that. So they all come over. And what does the Canadian government do? Gives them jobs. So they did 30,000 diversity, equity, inclusion hires from all over the world. And they thought that was going to make them money. So they get on the phone. I don't understand them. And it irritates me that I don't get it. And it irritates all of you as well. I get that. So many of you out there who are Canadian born or Canadian citizens who cared enough about the country to learn the language and the culture, we all do not comprehend these people. And we get mad and we hang up. That doesn't necessarily help. But you could, instead of just getting mad and hanging up, go on the attack. Go on the attack. And it doesn't matter what color your face is currently. I don't care about that. But you would be amazed when I'm dealing with these CRA people, when I start going down the road of being a complete racist Archie Bunker style jerk. Remember Sanford and Son and the Jeffersons? It was great. Every lead character of every TV show back in the 70s was racist. I love it. I love that. Say that stuff to them. They don't like it. Do you know what happens? They drop the file because they consider that hostile, and then it goes to their team leader, which typically is a beta cuck loser. And these guys, believe me, when these guys call and you start giving them hell, they're afraid of you. Do not be afraid to raise your voice and let them know that you're in charge. You are in charge. And here's one of the phrases that I'll utter, and I maybe TikTok will be upset about this, but I'll say, hey, listen, buddy, here's the deal. You don't talk to the white man that way. You understand? The white man invented air and mountains. You don't talk to us like that. It's a lie. We didn't invent mountains. At least I don't think. But I say this stuff. And I tell them, you watch your tone. You don't talk to me like that. You get your manager on the phone now. Now! Scream, yell, be mean, be vile, be nasty. Nothing wrong with that. Take charge. It's your life. These people are trying to mess with your life. Don't be afraid of them. Make them afraid of you. It's great. I bought 250, actually probably more now, 250 corporations from people. All of those corporations are completely and totally in debt. In the CRA, they'll call me saying, oh, we understand you're the new director and the new owner and the new everything. Could you pay the bill? Nah. No, I'm good. Then they realize who I am because I always tell them to look me up on Google. And as soon as they see that every newspaper in the country has called me Islamophobic and homophobic and racist and all the other names that they've cracked online, they give up. They give up. None of the auditors who have ever contacted me about any of the corporations that I have bothered have ever pursued it. No threat letters, no lawsuits, no cops at my door, no nothing. Nothing. You can do the same thing, you know. All of you out there can do the exact same thing. The Canada Revenue Agency, I'm going to repeat myself, is merely a collection agency full of people who do not belong in Canada. They are rude, they're callous, they do not speak English, they do not understand our ways, but they've been trained very haphazardly and told to threaten everybody who actually is a Canadian citizen. And if you are not a Canadian citizen and you don't speak English, you're not threatening me with anything. I'm going to go on the attack. And all of you got to do the exact same thing. Now, let me ask you this question. And I know that we got every race known to man is watching this show. And thank you all for being here. But just imagine for an instant, somebody calls you racist. Could you please tell me how that affects your life in any way? Go on. I'll wait. I mean, 3 years from now, when you cook up an answer, it's still going to be the wrong one. It doesn't affect your life. Who cares what people call you? It does not matter that these people on the other end of the phone will say, oh, you can't yell at me. That's racist. Opinions vary. Why are you calling me? Get your supervisor. Be rude, please. We got about 4 minutes left here before I start taking questions. I'm going to reflect on everything I've just said tonight, because this is a very unusual lecture for me to give on a tax and money show, but it's very important that all of us out there man up, woman up, adult up. We've got to up our game. The country of Canada is all but finished. The Western world is in extreme and deliberate decline, which means you have to be on your toes more than ever before. You cannot let anybody into your household that you haven't vetted incredibly well. And the way to vet people is to be callous and question them and grill them and become good judges of character. At the same time, when somebody's making a phone call to you, just because they say that they are from the CRA and they say they have authority, doesn't mean they have authority. The law says you've got the right to remain silent. The criminal code says that if someone is threatening you, you can call the cops and file charges for uttering threats and intimidation. If they do it a second and third time, you can add criminal harassment to that. If they are demanding money from you, that's extortion. If they tell you that you owe taxes, that's fraud. These are very serious charges, and all of us together need to start filing criminal charges every single day against these people. We all need to be on the attack against these people. They all back down. I'm telling you, this is what I do for a living. When I go on the attack against the CRA, they always quit. Oh, yeah. Even today, it was wonderful. I was doing the radio voice. I was talking to an auditor today, telling her that we were just absolutely not going to cooperate with her in any way. And I would love to talk to your supervisor immediately. By the way, if you go to my client's house one more time, you'll be wearing handcuffs and going to prison for 30 days. Do you understand? She wasn't happy. You can just talk to my supervisor then, okay? Well, that's kind of what I wanted. So you got to be on the attack. Just please stop going to fear. Fear is the wrong response. Remember, I've told the story before. My father died. It was January 3rd, 2008 at 10:55 a.m. I know, because I was with him when he took his last breath. And my mother, God rest her soul, love her, but not smart. Mom ran down to the lobby of the hospital, and for some reason she had the CRA toll-free number in her pocket. And she called them, I don't want to go to jail. My husband just died. Yeah. And they sent her out a $25,000 assessment. Just like not $23,214.08. flat 25 grand. He owes this, they said. And she paid it. She paid it. Fear. That's what fear does. And I had to lecture her saying, you know, Ma, just imagine for a moment you did go to jail for not reporting dad's taxes after death. How much time do you think you'd get? I don't know. So, you know, Ma, let's say it's 5 days. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's 5 days. Is it not worth 5 days in prison to make sure that that $25,000 goes to your grandkids like your husband and their grandfather told you to do? Like you can't even honor your husband's wishes because you're afraid of people that you've never met. It's sick. And no, Danish princess, I'm just saying, what if it was only 5 days? Nobody goes to jail in Canada for owing tax dollars. There's no such thing as debtor's prison in Canada. I'm in the hole with all these corpses I buy and with all the really bad pedophiles I used to do reports on in Canada, suing me with pedo judges, letting them win. I got $11 million of judgments against me and $150 million that I bought in debt. And nobody is doing anything about it. $150 million plus of debt, that's pretty good. It's not good enough. I want to be $1 billion in the hole. That is my plan. But what would they do? I mean, look, I'm living proof. There's no warrant for my arrest for owing money. There's no warrant for my arrest for getting sued. There certainly is no warrant for my arrest for telling the CRA that they're a bunch of retards. And there's no warrant for my arrest for me teaching you not to deal with the Canada Revenue Agency. And you've all come across just how big my mouth is, eh? Boucher grande, right? That's what I've got here. With my big mouth, no one's even put a bullet in my head yet. So if they're with me being that much in debt and that thing about it, what exactly do you think that they're going to do to you? What exactly is it that you're afraid of? What the hell are you all afraid of? Fear needs to go. Adults in the Western world need not live in fear. Your first reaction to anybody interrupting your private time should be anger. That is a useful emotion. Hate is even more useful. I know how powerful hate is because my hatred for the CRA has led me down this road where I am saving Canadians hundreds now of millions of dollars from the CRA. Hate is a motivator. Anger is a motivator. And you should take that anger, attack them, and then fill your head with knowledge. I mean, guys, this show is free. Every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. The show is free. And it's archived for free on freedomreport.ca. It's there. Everything that I've said, for the last 7 years is on freedomreport.ca. There's a lot of information I've given away. So familiarize yourselves with it. Get out there, be a monster, be a lion, and take what's yours. Keep what's yours. Protect yours from them. There we go. And for the ladies out there, I want to make this last point before we move on to question time. I'm going to ask the ladies out there a big favor. I covered this about 15 or 16 shows ago. The Canada Revenue Agency has hired the best military-style psychologists to write letters and to write scripts designed specifically to make women as afraid as possible. Yes, it's a scientific attack. They're going for it. They know exactly how women are going to react. Now, we're not talking all, we're talking the average. Right? When I do the paintbrush thing, it's not all of society. I'm talking about the average. So what you ladies need to do is when the CRA sends a letter, don't scream at your husband. He's in the same boat you're in. You're supposed to be his number one confidant. You're supposed to be his first lieutenant. You're supposed to be the one that picks up the shield and watches his back while he's fighting up front. You have no choice if you want to survive financially in Canada. You do not have the luxury, ladies, of losing your minds and then losing your shit on your man. What did your man do to deserve an attack from the CRA and then from you? You gotta be his first lieutenant. You gotta be his co-pilot. You gotta be his gunner. Pick your analogy. It doesn't matter what it is. You ladies out there, please, I'm begging you, understand if you feel fear because of what the CRA is saying to you, it's military grade psychologists that wrote this stuff and they've got morons reading it to you. So the ones who are threatening you are just reading a script written by a psychologist. What are you afraid of? And why attack your own man? I'm no longer married because of that exact thing. Somebody would say something. Oh, it must be true because my husband didn't say it and someone else did. That's how a lot of you ladies think. And it's repugnant. And it's going to destroy your home. And what you're doing, ladies, is you're helping the Canada Revenue Agency infiltrate your own household by infiltrating your mind. And then you ladies will scream, just pay it, get it, I'll pay it. My mother was like that. She drove my father nuts. She drove me nuts. Pay it, huh? Don't do that. Do not do that. A lot of men out there throw their life savings away just to shut their women up. Ladies, it's a very serious request. Understand that the fear that you feel over the CRA was orchestrated over 50 years ago by the Canadian friggin' military. It's just a script. It's just a loser on the phone reading the script off of a computer screen. That's all it is. So that is what tonight's show was about, is me lecturing a little bit, but I'm also asking, man up, woman up. Look at me, over $150 million of debt, court orders to pay money. I haven't paid a penny, nothing. I even told the judges before the case started, I'm not paying even if I lose. You're wasting your time. And they've done nothing to me, which means they're going to do nothing to you. Stop being afraid. Make them afraid. And for everybody out there, let's read this woman's number out again here. You're all going to start with this one auditor who pissed me off by hanging up the phone on me. That's rude. She didn't answer my questions. Even after I told her I bought the company. It's mine. It's my company. Wouldn't talk to me because I'm too aggressive. So I want all of you to get aggressive with this individual. Veronica Marcus, auditor for the CRA, doesn't understand the law, doesn't follow lawful instructions, likes to intimidate people, but she's afraid when someone actually knows their rights and knows the law. Veronica Marcus can be reached at a public phone number. This is not a private phone number. This is a CRA phone number, 613-791-6387. Everybody, please type in the chats right now so everyone can see the number. Here we go one more time. 613-791-6387. Veronica Marcus, auditor. Ask her questions. Make sure that you are stern. Don't threaten to kill her. Don't threaten to beat her up. Don't threaten to take her kids or blow up her dog. Don't do that. Ask questions and be forceful. We have to go on the attack. This is me teaching all of you how to not feel fear anymore when dealing with the Canada Revenue Agency. It is now question and answer time. All right. Hold on a second here. I can't see that far. Sorry, I've got my staff here. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's no problem. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, just for the record, everyone. Oh my God, did I leave my shades somewhere? All right, everyone asks me why I'm wearing my shades all the time. Do you think you're really cool? No, it's because I'm partially blind in one eye. I need them to see. That's what that is. All right, here we go. Thank you very much. There we are. Yeah, everyone asks me why I wear pink sunglasses. They're actually not pink. I think maybe the sun kind of faded them down to pink. I've had these since I was 25 years old. Yes, I can't see past 6 feet without them. There we are. Prescription. That's the answer. All righty. Do you have people on your team that specialize in doing farms? Well, Cheryl, there's nothing special about a farm. What we do for farms is we move the ownership of the farm into a numbered corporation, and we then put a lien on the farm from another corporation that you own. So imagine this. Corporation A has your farm. Corporation B exists for no reason other than to hold all your profits from the farm. And Corporation B puts a $30 million lien against your house in Corporation A. Congratulations, you've just protected your property. This is a strategy we started about 3 months ago, and it works especially well with farms. Oh, and for the record, everybody, MNP, that's that useless accounting company in central Canada. Don't go to them. They got no clue what they're doing. And then you've got FBC, Farm Business Consulting in Ontario. They're awful. No, go with the guy who hates the CRA and actually likes people. That's how we protect your farm. All righty. Can we book a meeting in person if I come to Panama? Hell yeah. Absolutely you can. What you got to do though for that, we don't have a credit card zapper. No, okay. So you have to just go to my website and utilize the contact page and just say you'd like to book an appointment with me, and Christine, the office manager, will get back to you quickly and we'll get you all booked in for that. All right, just going to check your questions out here, everybody. What happens if you don't file taxes for years? I love it when people come to me and they haven't done their taxes for 5, 6, 7 years. Why? Because your earnings are going to be whatever I say they are. Let me tell you why. Because, ready for this? Estimated earnings and estimated expenses. Completely legal. Do you really know how much money you make in a year? You've got your salary, and then you've got the money you found on the ground that one time, and then you went to the casino and you bet on the right horse, and then you had a part-time gig for 3 days, and then you had a garage sale. There's all these ways to make money. Oh yeah, then someone dies, you get an inheritance. Yeah, whatever it might be. Do you actually know how much money you made? Then there's the 8 cents of bank interest you get in Canada. Yeah. Do you add all that up and report all of that? No, you don't do that. I'm going to estimate your earnings, of course, in your favor. You know, like one gentleman came up to us and he didn't know how much he made. He had no clue how much he made. 11 years he didn't do his taxes. No problem. You don't know? I asked, do you think it's $4,000? Do you think it was $4 million? How much do you think you made? And it's a serious question. He said, I think maybe I made $12,000 a year. Okay, good. Then that's what we put down. And there's nothing that the CRA can do about it because the man doesn't know. He just doesn't know. Good. Just like that, $12,000, which means he pays absolutely no tax because anything under $13,800 is not taxable. Do you have to pay property tax? Alex, that is the only tax in Canada that you have to pay because municipalities have been given not a special right, but even though it's illegal for them to take your house, they do it anyway, and nobody stops them. Not the courts, not anyone. So regrettably, no, I can't get you out of property tax, but we can get you back all the tax money that you've paid in the last 10 years, and then you got more than enough money for property tax. More than enough. How do I evade taxes in Canada? Well, you don't evade them. You just don't report them. You're not obligated to do so. But here's one way. This is the best way going. We open up a brand new numbered corporation for you. We get you an HST or GST number. You do business. You never do your first tax returns. Why? Because that way you're not signing a contract with the CRA to become an in-trust tax collector for them. Then you make money. You keep the money. It's all yours. All of it's yours. My gift to you. That's how you do it. Get another corporation, specifically as a holding company. Do not be the director of the companies ever because the CRA can track you down that way. and just put your money into the holding company. Now you got one corporation for doing business, one corporation for holding your money. Congratulations. You will never pay tax in Canada again. Ta-da. There we go. Flatten Life says, do you have to pay outstanding HST from an old corporation still open? All right. It's an unusual clause in the Income Tax Act and the GST Act for that matter. So what the Canada Revenue Agency will do is they've been finding a lot of corporations that have been inactive for 4, 5, 10 years. And they say, oh, look, they didn't pay some GST 5, 10 years ago. So they'll contact you and they'll state that they want you to pay this GST bill. Thinking, okay, great. Don't know what you're talking about. And it does happen. People shut companies down 10 years ago and they forget that they had a GST bill of $8,000. So the only way to get rid of that is to sell me your corporation in a share sale, and all that GST debt becomes my debt, and the CRA can chase me. And once they figure out that it's me and this annoying smiling face, they give up. They want nothing to do with me. And I've been told that by many auditors. I want nothing to do with you. You're so vile. You're racist. I read about you on CBC. I saw you on the Toronto Star. You're homophobic. Yeah, they talk like that to me. It is ridiculous. I have hundreds of recorded conversations. I just don't have time to edit them all for you. Hundreds of conversations where the CRA is giving up because apparently I'm too boisterous, too obnoxious. I mean, I can't disagree with that. But imagine being a government employee whose job it is to call people and threaten them. And then as soon as you get an obnoxious middle-aged guy calling you, you give up. It's kind of pathetic, don't you think? All right. Lord Broly's saying that I tried to book a meeting with you, but it looks like you've got nothing available. Okay, Lord Broly, that's a good question. It looks like I'm sold out until October for consultations, which is ridiculous. That means a lot of people are having a lot of tax problems. It's a sign of the times. But what we are going to do, and we're trying our very best to get this going for July, we're going to have a different type of consultation where we get between 50 and 100 people to come in at one time. And I'm going to explain the basics about taxes to you a little bit more in depthly than I'm doing here. And then I'll have people ask individual questions. Because the thing is, a lot of the consultations that we're doing right now, I know what the answer or the solution is to the problem within 5 minutes. So we need to change it up a little bit. I really don't think that many of you need a full hour of my time to explain the problem. And it's not that your problem is less important than anybody else's. It's just that I hear it every day, 7, 12, 15 times a day. So I know the answers. Now, we are going to try something a bit different, Lord Broly. Please keep coming back. We will get this figured out. But Lord Broly, why don't you tell me right now, are you selling a corporation or did you want me to do payroll? Because that one I can get you a meeting immediately. Thank you. All right, we go. Oh God, we got 40 comments here. Overtaxed Canadian. CRA has been calling, but I don't even pick up now as per our video meeting. Just waiting on next move. All right. Oh, that was that dude, Overtaxed Canadian. Yeah. Check the notes. Yeah, we got to talk to him. Thanks for being here, pal. Appreciate that. The tax assessment is in fiat currency and the fiat system has crashed. Well, not yet. They're not going to let it crash on their own watch. So the Canadian dollar is probably going to be around for at least another 3 to 5 years. Okay, a trust is easier. Trusts are easy, but they're expensive. They're like $40K to set up. That's why I don't use them. If you've got like 20, 30, 40 houses, sure, even 5 houses, use a trust. Otherwise, everything goes into numbered corporations. So Lord Broly says, no, he has tax problems. His history is with skip the dishes. Oh, okay. So Lord Broly, you probably don't need a consultation. I think instead, what you would need is for me to simply go back and do 10 years worth of your taxes for you and get back everything that you've got and kill your tax debt. All right. It's cool. Thanks for bringing that up. You can write off almost everything. See this here? My little rubber tapper for my phones? It's $1.50. You can write it off. if I bought 100, but I didn't really, I can write off 100. You see this glass? I use this to keep me fluid during my show. I can write this off. This water here, what did you give me an invoice for this water? $18,000? Yeah, so this water is $18,000. I can write this off. All right, here we go. Watch this. $2,000 just disappeared. We can write that off. Marketing. We can do marketing expenses. 50% of what you make should go right back into marketing. It's actually very common for 50% of someone's income to go into a marketing expense. So we add those expenses. Medical, big one. Surgeries are part of medical. Flight to go get medical done. If you've got to do it outside the country, you can write that off. If your medical is outside the country, we write that off. And if the CRA ever says that, oh, we have to see proof, just like I said earlier in the show, no, Section 231.1 of the Income Tax Act, you have no right to ask for that without an active investigation being open. And even if you had one open, we're not cooperating. Yeah, because you're not cops, you losers. There we go. How do you put your house into a holding company or a trust? If you got a house, and this is you, like your personal name is on the house, we register a numbered corporation, you add the numbered corporation to the title, and then a couple of days later, 30 usually, remove you. Ta-da, done. No land transfer tax, no lawyer fees. It's that simple. They don't want you to know that. I want you to know that. Everybody who owns a house, who's watching this show, come to me for a numbered corporation, get your house out of your name, hide it in numbered corporations. Believe me, you'll thank me. Someone named Ride's Dad. Ride's Dad, are you using the contact form on my website? Because I don't have time for DMs. So it doesn't matter what social media platform you're currently watching this on. I don't have time, guys. I don't check private messages on Instagram, on Kik, TikTok, Rumble, Facebook, none. There's no time. Everything has to filter through my website. Head over to KevinJJohnston.com. Ride's Dad, just put your name in the subject line. We're going to look for it right after the show. Do that, please. All right, let me check the YouTube and Facebook comments here and questions. All right. Oh, yeah. Rumble. Let's have a look at Rumble. What's going on in the Rumble chat room? Oh, it's busy tonight. Check this out. All right. So I see a lot of political stuff in here. We're trying to stay away from the politics tonight. All right. There's a lot of stuff here. Okay. Hey, Rumble. The text in Rumble's chat is really small. If you've got a question in Rumble, please use the capital letters question along with the question. On Instagram, TikTok, and Kik, just go ahead and ask questions normally. It's unfortunate, like Rumble's font, it's really tiny. It's annoying. All right, more questions here. Oh, Dane asks, even if she works for the government as a teacher. Well, Dane, medical, marketing on some kind of part-time job, a T2125 form, part-time expenses. Yeah, you could write your car off. You can write your fuel off. You can write all that off. The CRA would like to convince you that you can't write anything off. They are absolutely incorrect. Because remember, we're going to write everything off. And without a court order, we're not going to give them any receipts. We're going to tell them, no, I signed an affidavit. I swore that into the courts. If you want me to give you invoices or receipts, you got to take me to court. And the CRA obviously has never taken me to court, and they never will. Dale, Wisdom Junction. I have not filed for 9 years and not paid HST. Okay, Dale, if you got yourself a corporation with HST debt, let me know. I'll just buy the company from you and take that over. Should vehicles, boats, etc., be put in a holding company? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Why? Let's cover the basics, shall we? In Canada, we have the most expensive toll road in the world. It's called 407 ETR, Express Toll Route, I think they call it. My God, this thing. it's something like $1.50 or $2 just to drive through the gate to get on the highway. Then it's ridiculous. Like, what is it? Like 20, 30 cents a kilometer? And then if you don't have a transponder, they hit you with some fee. It's ridiculous. So if your car is in a numbered corporation and you rack up like $90,000 worth of tolls anywhere in the country, what happens when it comes time to renew your plate? You can't do it, right? So you sell the car to another numbered corporation and get new plates. It's cheaper to do that than pay the $90,000 a toll. That's one way. The other thing is there's a lot of crybabies out there. No, police, this guy cut me off and gave me the finger. You know, and the cops are so stupid in Canada. They'll actually take that complaint and they'll open an investigation. Did you get a plate number? I only got the last 4 digits. And the cops will spend 3 years looking at the last 3 digits of these license plates to figure out whose plate it could possibly be, so they can go now and conclude their investigation by asking whoever's plate that was. Now, first off, you're going to exercise your right to remain silent. But secondly, if it's a corporate vehicle and the cops eventually figure out who owns the corporation, and let's say they come to your door, hey, were you speeding on June 3rd, 2.5 years ago on Highway 6 where the mailbox is? That guy's just, gentlemen, that's a company car. I've got no clue who was driving it. Get off my property. Done. You protect it that way. But, you know, at the same time, you can bundle insurance. You put your car, your boat, your trailer, your van, all that stuff into a holding company. Yeah. You'll get a break on the insurance for everything. Protect yourselves, especially the license plate thing. It should never go to your name. It should never go to your address, ever. I despise the idea of having a license plate that draws people to where I am. I mean, I had the cops come to my door once. Looking for Kevin Johnston. You knocked over a case of Coke over what? What? Yeah. Somebody had complained that I had knocked over a case of Coke. Literally at some gas station. I think it was a Petro-Canada in the city of Mississauga. And it took them 3 weeks to figure out who I was. And they came to ask me about this case of Coke. I got my jaw's hanging low. What? A case of Coke? Like 1 case of Coke? What are you talking about? So you didn't knock over a case of Coke? No, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a weird thing for a guy with a gun to come to me asking me about Coca-Cola. And he realized that he wasn't going to get anywhere, so he left. But he still came to my house because my license plate was called in by some loser, probably somebody who was bored. If it was a numbered corporation with an address 9 cities away, well, they'd be driving around still looking for me, I'm sure, to talk about Coke. Maybe I'll tell them I prefer Pepsi. What an absolute idiot. Yeah, God. Cops are idiots, all right? They really are stupid people. You want these people as far away from you as possible. So yes, put your cars into numbered corporations and have your numbered corporation go to a mailbox. If you're in Ontario, have it go to I bought a house. I bought a house in Ontario so that we could have all of you out there who want to hide where you live. Let me know. It's $700 a year, but you can live at my house. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. So the cops can go to my house, probably looking for me. Yeah. But they're not going to find you because I'm not telling the cops shit. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Looking for some more. Is it better to get an LLC or an Ontario company? I'm a Canadian living in Ontario. Well, Crusher OG. The reason that Ontario corporations are so good to have is because if you get an HST number and you're charging HST on everything, that's an additional 13% on every invoice that you write. You get to keep that money if you follow my advice from about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, do that. And you can use my address in Ontario for that purpose. You can just say that your corporation is at my house. And that way, it's not a mailbox. So when you go looking for a bank loan and they run Google Maps is not going to go to a UPS store. It's going to go to a house. I mean, the house is a piece of shit. It sucks. I don't care. I'm not even fixing it because it's there for a very specific purpose, which is to help all of you hide from the government. Yeehaw. All right. Ride's dad just emailed through the form about a Panama trip. Could you just confirm that for me, please? How do you get a property to get a mortgage when they always request tax reports? Okay, Rogue. So nobody heard this from me. I didn't say this, but you could have another corporation. You can open up another corporation if you wanted to, and then hire yourself. You could hire yourself for, let's say, I don't know, 200 grand a year. What would that be on a weekly salary here? Hold on. Let's do a quick calculation. 200,000 divided by 52. So you could pay yourself $3,846 a week. So if you've got a spare 3,800 bucks lying around, then what you do with your corporation is pay yourself that money. And then you take the money out in cash and put it back in your corporate account. And on a Friday, pay yourself again. Right? So your corporation, your own company, can pay you. And you do that for a couple of years, they're going to think, wow, this guy making some money. Yeah. That's certainly one way to get things done. Yes, someone says, nice scam, KJJ. Hundreds of Canadians claiming to live at your house. That's not a scam. It's a service. Everyone claims that they live inside of a little post office box this big. Now they can claim they live in a real house with a kitchen and bathroom, and electricity and grass and all the other stuff that comes with a house. Allodial title. I can't answer that in anything less than an hour. And I just can't. That has to be its own show. Allodial titles have to be their own show. Sorry about that, pal. Withdrew my RRSPs, invested it, and then they added my yearly salary. I owe them another $7K. What year was that? I'll ask. The reason I ask is this. If you're about to take out a GIC, an RESP, an RRSP, or any investment that's tied to the Canadian government in any particular way, you got to let me know 2 months ahead of time, and I'll get you back every single penny in the following tax year. And I mean every single penny. But you got to let me know 2 months before you're cashing it out, so we can get everything prepared for you to get this tax return to work in the following tax season. Whose name do you make the second corporation under? John Smith. You know that guy down the road, John? Good guy. Or his brother. His brother, Mark Smith. And their cousin, Sasha Smith. Steve Smith is the, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter who the director is, just so long as there's a corporation that pays you. And then what you can do is, it's a great service. You can go to Text Now, TEXTNOW, Text Now, and for something like $5 a week, you can have an alternate phone number that works on Wi-Fi and off of data. And there's another Canadian company called Hushed, where you give them $400. No, it's not $400. No, it's cheaper than that. I don't know. I think it was like $300 maybe I paid, but you get something like 480 minutes of time on a Wi-Fi or data connection. So you can have a separate cell phone and get ChatGPT to write up a good script for you, and then get Suno to speak it for you in some lovely voice. Hello, you have reached John Smith from John Smith Construction Incorporated. We cannot come to the phone right now. Get that done. Everybody who works in banking these days, they're robots, they're drones, they're not smart people. They phone, we got voicemail for your boss. Oh, good. How is John? John okay? Why not? If you bury a family member on your property, can you turn the property into a position to, okay. I have not looked into that one yet. That if you bury a body on your property, it's technically a cemetery and consecrated ground and so on. I really don't know. I have to read more into that. I probably won't for a while, though. I'm just going to tell you this right now. I don't think that one's going to make me money. Archie says he remembers me, but doesn't know where from. It was John Smith's party. Remember John? It was on the pool deck. Remember that time that there was hamburgers and food? Yeah, it was there. John's house. If you get interest income on your holding company, do you pay taxes on this? Why would you report that? No, absolutely not. A holding company does null tax returns each year saying no, NULL, no, with a letter from me stating that it does not conduct commerce. It's a holding company. No, about everything. No. Do I know crypto? I know crypto quite well. I know crypto so well. In fact, I'm going to be buying about $150,000 in XRP tomorrow morning because I'm expecting it to go to $8 at the end of July. Now I could triple my money, quadruple my money on that one. There you go. Hey, Madine says I am the man, and Madine would know. True story. Oh, Malik, I think this is an insult. People really trust you. Yeah. I've told you earlier in the show. I've taken more than $150 million away from the CRA. It's going to be a whole lot more, guys. I'm not stopping. They put a lien on my friend's husband's building, and they're taking all the money when it sells. Not if I'm the guy that sells the property. Okay, everyone, listen to me right now on liens. We got to get rid of the lien. All right. If the CRA is putting a lien on your house, it's not a real lien. It's called a writ. The writ goes against you, the person. Now, they'll do it through tax court. Tax court has no jurisdiction to write liens. The other part of it is you have to perfect a lien. So if you're going to put a lien on someone's property, you only get 2 years to sue them. Your friend who's about to sell a building, get a hold of me. That is a big one. I can save this guy's ass and save his building and save his money. One more thing, lawyers have become losers now. If you're selling a property, do not allow a lawyer to take the money that you get from the sale of that property into his trust account. Because that lawyer, I have no idea why they're doing this, but lawyers in Canada that you pay and supposedly are working for you are right now paying out the CRA and paying out your creditors before they give you your money off of your house. I don't do that. So we actually offer a holding service where what happens is the sale of your house, you get the check's written to my corporation, it goes into my corporate bank account, and it sits there, and I just give you the whole thing. That's what we do. If the CRA says, yeah, but he owes, I'll tell them, get a court order. Or if the creditors say, yeah, but he owes on the credit card, no problem. You go, you sue the guy, try to win, and then get a court order for the money. No court order, no money. Again, I'll repeat myself. No court order from a superior court, no money. I cooperate with nothing. That's not a legitimate court order by a judge in a superior court within the country. And even then, I always appeal those because I don't like being told what to do by weak men in black dresses. I just don't like it. So I appeal everything. So if you're selling a house or property in any way and you're afraid the CRA is going to take your money, you get the check written to my company. We sit on it for 30 days. And you just say on day 31, you tell me where you want to go. Yes, there's a fee for that. But I'll tell you this, it's less than half what a lawyer is going to charge you. And I'm not giving any of your money to the bank. I'm not giving any of your money to the CRA. I'm not giving any of your money to anyone but you. That's how I do it. My corporation dissolved. It owed $22,000 in taxes, never filed to begin with. It's been 2 years. Bad captain, I got an idea. Just to protect yourself, revive the corporation, which you can do at the registry in your province, and just transfer it to me. And what I'll do is if you cover all the legal fees, I'll take it over from you and you can walk away from it. Because if you never did a tax return, great, but they still might want one in the future. Transfer the corporation to me. How do I get you to do a 4-year tax estimation for my company? Randy, go to the contact form on my website. Just give me a point form breakdown as to what all the problems are, and we're going to be okay. Oh, by the way, where's the guy that worked for the food company? Lord Broly says he only missed 2 years. Yeah, but Lord Broly, if I go back and do 10 years, that whole tax debt goes away. Plus, I'll get you about half of your money back on those 10 years, up to 100%. It's not guaranteed 100, but it's guaranteed 50. I'll tell you that right now. Just checking more of your questions here. Reckless and wild. Nothing's ready to sell one of my grandma's properties. How do I get around capital gains in Alberta? I got to be your tax guy. That's how. And you cannot put the money through a law firm because they'll look at the capital gains, they'll work it out themselves, and they'll pay the CRA and snitch on you. I won't. I'll put the money into a trust that we have, and it's going to sit there for 30 days. You tell me where you want it, and it goes. But if you need it the next day because you're buying another property, no problem. We get it in, and we get it right back out. The big thing you got to keep in mind is that when any of you out there are selling a house, don't go blabbing about it. Stop talking to people. Stop saying, oh, yeah, I'm selling my house. And yeah, I owe some tax money. I'm afraid the CRA is going to take my money. Stop talking about your personal life. Talk to me about it because I'm acting as your legal agent. And I'm here to help. I'm here to get you guys as much money as possible. And of course, get paid for my time. But, people you're complaining to, they're going to give you really stupid, bad advice. And it's amazing how often people take bad advice. So don't complain about your financial situation to other people. Keep all that quiet. I should order 10 pizzas from 10 places and send them all to the CRA auditor. I'm thinking maybe what we should do, maybe this is illegal, I don't know. If everybody could just go to the beach and find dead fish and mail her that instead. Why would I give her pizza? No. Give her fish, dead fish. That's been sitting in the sun for a week. When you buy my payroll and GST debt, can you remove the lien CRA has in your house? Yes, we can. Because when the corporation is no longer yours, what we do is we write first off, we threaten the CRA. But at the same time, we file a motion in the Superior Court of your province so that we can get that lien removed by a real judge. By the way, everybody, there's only 22,000 likes. Can we get everybody on TikTok? Boom, right now. Get those double fingers going. It's free. It's free to do. Get it going. We've only got 15 minutes to hit 100,000 likes. Just get going. Share. Same thing over here on Instagram, please. Everybody over here on Rumble, right about there is where you're going to find that like button. If you're on Facebook, I don't know. Like, what do you do on Facebook anyway? Who knows? I rarely care about Facebook. If you're watching on X, re-exit, retweet it, whatever it's called. If you're watching on D Live, share it. Guys, everyone, please get the likes rocking. It really does help. The Advocate says, sending you a note on your site for consultation on a family business takeover, including a building in the current operating corporation. Okay, so we got to move that building out of the corporation before I take your corporation from you. I don't want your building. I don't want your house. I don't want your stuff. I get paid a fee. I'm happy with the fee. You get to start over. So put down corporate purchase, please, in the subject line on my website, KevinJJohnston.com. Don't DM me in social media. I probably will never get to it. I'm out of time to do such a thing. All right. How much can you claim without a receipt in Ontario? $1.5 trillion. It doesn't matter. You don't need receipts. Keep receipts for yourself so that you know how much money you've made, but you don't need receipts for the CRA or for the province of Ontario or anyone else. You do not need receipts when you're doing taxes in Canada. Okay. I fly private too. Can you please use my website contact form and put I fly private too in the subject line? We're right here. I've got the whole team with me in Panama for the next month. All right. Everybody's right in my office here. So we will get your messages. Use my website to contact me, please. Can you make up medical expenses? Yes. Okay, next. Received notice of assessment. Haven't received my refund. What are my options? All right, did your notice of assessment, I got to know, did the notice of assessment say that you're getting money back? If you're getting money back, they are delaying refund checks up to 10 months now. That's what the CRA is doing. They don't want to give you money back. They just want to steal what they possibly can. I work for the CRA and Uber. Would I do your taxes? Yeah, of course I would. We have clients who work for the CRA. The CRA is even screwing them over. Now, they don't necessarily like my opinion of people who work for the CRA, but that's okay. Money is money. Business is business. Anybody who wants to do business, bring that lovely money with you and we'll solve your problems. The answer is yes. But I'll never tell you who they are. I don't tell anybody anything about my clients, period. Capital gains. You only pay capital gains if you're foolish enough to tell the CRA that you've got them. Do not tell the CRA about property that you own. You do not legally have to do that. How do I sell my inherited property with minimum property gains? Make sure I'm your tax guy, and we'll take care of all of that. How do I sell my car to a numbered corporation? You just go to if it's Alberta, there's no tax. If it's Ontario, you go to Service Ontario and you pay PST to do it, and then you're golden. They'll give you license plates in the corporate name. If they say that they want to have your ID or a name attached to the license plates, forget it. Register the plates in Manitoba. There you go. The Forgotten Canadian said, hey, buddy, you supported my bridge protests in Vaughan Mills. I remember the protests during that fake pandemic nonsense. I remember that. I'm considering bankruptcy. Does it stop the CRA? If it's a personal bankruptcy, yes, unless you had a sole proprietorship and you had a GST number and payroll debt with GST debt, then they'll chase that forever. But if you did have a sole proprietor with any of those, then let me redo your taxes and I'll get rid of those debts. Bankruptcy is the last option. I can always fix your tax problems. There are no tax problems I can't fix. Not one. Don't go bankrupt until I've done your taxes. I'll tell you when it's time to go bankrupt. Don't you tell you that. Consumer proposals, never do them. They're awful. I had a whole show about consumer proposals. Go back and watch that on freedomreport.ca, please. Just checking out more of your questions here because we are down to our last 12 minutes. Could I accept another consultation with you? I'm sure at some point we're going to find some way to free up some time. Maybe you could email us and let us. Did we already have a meeting? Is that why you're asking that? Let us know in the email, please. Is my stream freezing? Someone says my stream is freezing. Let me know, please. All right. How can I connect with a Kamloops team? Canola Girl. My Kamloops team are sales reps. I don't have any accountants in Kamloops. What is it you'd like to know? If you could send us an email, please. I'd very much like to know how I can help you. What's the deal with CERB repayments? We crush those. It's $950, and within 6 to 8 weeks, your CERB debt is gone. Best bank to work with? Is there any such thing? I'm very happy to point my clients towards Meridian in Ontario. They're a credit union. I'm very happy to point people towards Bow Valley Credit Union in the province of Alberta. In fact, the president of Bow Valley Bank has been on my show, I think, on 3 or 4 separate occasions, and he's a hell of a guy. So you should watch those shows. Colin Scott 580. Again, Colin, use the contact form on my website, please. And Rogue says, I sent you everything now. Let's get these losers. Good talk. Love it. Tail gunner, a sole proprietorship. Do I have 5 years before I have to file business taxes? Tail gunner, if you open up a sole proprietorship and you've never done taxes on it, do not do taxes on the sole proprietorship. They'll screw you huge. Just put down like 10 grand of earnings and be done with it. Not through the sole prop, just in general. I have to go before a judge because my 4th review was denied by the CRA. So I have to get a law to go before the judge. All right. So everyone, this is great. If the CRA put you in a position where you had to go to tax court and you lose in tax court, we appeal that. But then what we do is I just redo that tax year at a different number. And the CRA has no choice but to assess that. And who knows, they'll probably assess it in our favor. You just keep resubmitting the same tax year, which is faster and cheaper than going to court all the time. Do I have a class or training on how to put vehicles and houses into an Ontario company? Not yet. I wish I had time to write that course. I can get the corporations and the bylaws opened up and written for you. That's not a problem. And I can point you in the right direction to get it done. In any consultations that we have, we give people full notes on how to do that. We probably should have a special show on that at some point. I'll have to think about that. Do I have to leave my money in the bank? I'd rather leave it in a 5-gallon pail. Yeah, just make sure it's hidden really well. No, nobody has to have a bank account. You don't have to do anything. No, absolutely not. Canola Girl wants to know how to contact me. It's my name, KevinJJohnston with a T, .com, KevinJJohnston.com. Hit me up on the contact form there, please. What's my website? KevinJJohnston.com. And hello, Hal. It's always good to see you again. Thank you very much for being here. You're looking beautiful as always. Randy Dorkin says, contact your .biz site. Can you check that, please? We're going to have a look for you on that one. But Randy, you know what? If you could just hit it again right now and just put your contact information into it, just make sure that when you're using the .biz thing that it's for corporate debt, because that's exactly what that page was set up for. If you want to go ahead and do that right now, we'll be checking that for you. Thank you so much. Haven't filed in 9 years. What do I do? Well, everyone, you can hire me to do your taxes for you for the last 9 years. That's no problem. You can also wait. We're going to have an AI version of our website running for January, which will do your taxes for you pretty much automatically and bring your tax bill to zero automatically. And that's going to be cheaper than hiring me to actually manually do it for you. So if you guys want to wait until the end of this year when the AI system that we are currently creating is running, you're absolutely welcome to do so. Capital gains earned on stock trades are reported to the CRA by the bank. Well, hilarious. It doesn't matter if it's reported by the bank. Who cares? We don't have to report it on your tax return. And if they say that we're going to assess you because the bank says you made money, then what we do is we put the onus on them to prove that there was ever a transaction in the first place. We give them 30 days to do it, and we tell them if they can't prove it in 30 days, then they admit by default that there is no debt and that we're going to sue you for criminal harassment. That's how you deal with the CRA. Why do you have to file a deceased person's taxes? Because they want to close the file, and they're looking for that last little bit of money. But I do dead people's taxes, everyone. I go back 10 years and get you back as much as I possibly can legally on your dead mom, dads, uncles, grandparents, whatever's taxes. I go right back. We just tell the CRA that the estate has not yet been closed and redo those taxes. What's the best way to move a vehicle from personal to a corporation? Dealership is saying they will buy it back and reissue it in the business name. No. You just transfer the vehicle. And if You're in the province of Ontario. You got to pay PST to do it, but don't sell it back. No, that's a scam. Did you hear that? You hear that? That's a scam. No, you do it yourself at the registry or Service Ontario. No, man, if a car dealership suggests that to you, that's a scam. Crack an egg on his head or something. That's ridiculous. Rumblefish, how do I get you to be my tax consultant? Hit me up on my website, KevinJJohnston.com. What area of Panama City would be good to stay in when I come and see you? If you, well, it depends. I guess if you're looking to be in the banking district, which is really lively during the day, but very dead at night, it's all banking. Sure. If you stay on the main drag, which is Balboa Avenue, it's a very busy street, but you're going to be right in front of the ocean with beautiful oceanside views. And if you're looking for $25 and $30 hotel rooms or $25 Airbnbs in really nice places, Santa Ana. Look that one up. It's right by the canal. Grassroots is saying that he had an email, but he missed the acceptance email. So we'll have to look at that one. Divorces. Oh, wow. No, I'm not covering that one now. I did a divorce show 2 years ago, I guess. I probably should, shouldn't I? I should probably do a divorce show at some point, but not right now. I'm a non-self-employed contractor who makes approximately $140K a year. CRA wants over $3,000. So if you're a contractor and you're on a T4, you can write off tools, gas, bus passes, subway tickets, more tools, safety harness, safety helmet, boots, second pair of boots, third pair of boots, sweater, more clothes, more tools. You write everything off. If you are a guy, anyone who's working on a T4, everything can be written off. If you take one phone call at your house from your boss, congratulations, 1/3 of your entire house can be written off now because it's business. That's how I do it. I have a vehicle debt in Ontario. I have residence in Alberta. I live in Thailand. I'm not sure what the question is. Are you serious about XRP? I'm serious about everything I do here. The answer is yes, I'm very serious about XRP. I'm going to drop a lot of dough tomorrow on it. A lot. How about IRS tax? Paul, my God, you know, I lived in the States for 4 years, and I can tell you this about the IRS. They truly are insane people. They are absolutely out of their friggin' minds. And no, I haven't studied enough American tax law to begin stating that I'm some kind of aficionado in it. I'm just not yet. I'm also waiting to see what Trump does with the restructuring of the FBI and the restructuring of the IRS. I'm really curious. If he restructures the IRS from top to bottom, I am going to learn American tax law because there's like more of you. There's 10 times the number of Americans than Canadians. I'll be rich, yo. Y'all be rich. I'd love to do that. Okay. So that's it. We're at 2 hours. My God, that just absolutely flew. I'd love to say thank you. Joan on YouTube says, I sent you a message today. CRA said that you owe them $80K. Okay, I'll have a look at that through my website, I hope. So if it's done through my website, then yes, I'll be able to address that over the next couple of days. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Tax and Money Show that runs absolutely every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on freedomreport.ca. Stay strong. Do not allow the CRA to ever make you feel fear. Fear is expensive. It costs you money because you're not making the right choices. Spread the show, share the show, subscribe on Rumble if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you all again next week. Good night.